Hello everyone and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
We're so happy to have you with us.
Back here on a Monday as per usual because someone didn't get hurt at the gym this week.
Yep, all good. I was kosher with everything. So.
And like you said, your bruise is gone.
I forgot it was there. I just said, oh, no, that's right, that happened. So,
alrighty. On the agenda today, we've got some good news to start with about Catherine, the Princess of Wales. We are going to talk about the hysteria in some corners of the media that they're inventing out of thin air about Prince Harry potentially being deported now that Trump is president-elect. Mm-hmm. And, of course, as per usual, during Prince William's Earthshot trip, which was overshadowed by the election, honestly, I didn't even know it was going on. I'm not going to lie. Otherwise, I would have mentioned it last week's episode because that's when he was there. So it was overshadowed, but of course that didn't stop Meghan and Harry from trying to do the same themselves.
These two will never learn.
All right, starting off with the good news. As you all may very well be aware, Princess of Wales has appeared over the weekend at the Festival of Remembrance along with William. I do wish he'd get rid of that beard. I am not a fan of that beard. I'm sorry. I know it's taste. He actually opened up in South Africa for an interview and said when his little girl Charlotte first saw it, she broke down in tears. She burst into tears, rather, I should say.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on too much about this because we are, I'm trying to keep to time, but it really does speak about what the children were, the stress they were potentially going through with their mom's diagnosis. For her to burst into tears over something so innocuous like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like a lot of tension, and that was just the final straw.
That change, maybe she's like, no. I don't know. But normally little girls, I remember my dad, he has a beard and a mustache combo, but sometimes he would just shave off the beard or shave off the mustache, and I'd be like, oh, wow, Dad, you look different. Yeah. But I wouldn't burst into tears. Yeah,
I don't I know children can be sensitive to change, and I was one of those children who was like, I don't want anything to change. Everything has to be the same. But that really does show how much stress they must have been through. Yeah, so I think you're spot on with that.
Little angels. Well, their mom looks magnificent. She looks beautiful, radiant. She looks like she's even put on some healthy weight. It's so good to see her. She appeared on the balcony as well on Sunday for Remembrance Sunday, and she did look very somber there with Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. Sorry, Sussex.
There are other duchesses now? What?
God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah, hopefully we never see those two in the same room ever again.
Please keep her away from Catherine.
Yep.
But I was thinking especially for the festival where she was smiling, I was thinking what a difference 8 months can make. Yeah. 8 months ago, our podcast was very somber too. It was when she announced her cancer diagnosis. And now she's on the other end of it. And may she have a long and healthy life.
Yep. Long live the future queen.
Yes. Long live the future queen. And of course, long live the king and their children. So that's the good news. That's it. Sorry. That's all I got for you.
Now to the other side of the pond. Oh boy.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, back to the actual Duchess of Sussex.
All right. So, of course, you're all well aware that Trump has been victorious. But as I said in the beginning, some, look, it's tabloids, Daily Mail, the usual suspects, this time authored by Richard Eden and the like. They are hopping on the whole Harry's gonna be deported bandwagon. So here Richard Eden says, Harry and Meghan's desperate attempts to return after Trump's win revealed. As my insiders tell me, the Duke fears deportation.
Huh?
Look, whatever Harry's feeling, we can't speak for that. Can't tell you that this is made up, BS in terms of Harry's feelings. Maybe he feels that way. But when you look at the facts, okay, not feelings, facts, it really, really doesn't make sense. To start with, I'm not sure you've seen this clip, but a clip has been circulating over the last week or so of Eric Trump saying flat out, we don't care.
I mean, I think they have more important things to do at the moment. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the right response because running the country is pretty important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this is what he had to say, exactly. So I don't paraphrase him.
Truthfully, I don't give a damn about Prince Harry, and I don't think this country does either. I will say that, my father loved the Queen, and I think the monarchy is like an incredibly beautiful thing. So I don't give a damn if he did drugs, if he did what. It means nothing. But I can tell you, my father and our entire family has tremendous respect for the monarchy.
I mean, I think he's spot on. Like the Americans don't care about Prince Harry.
This is what I mean about the Daily Mail going, oh yeah, Prince Harry's there. It's such a nothing burger.
Yeah.
And I think everyone also forgets that Harry entered the US in early 2020 when Trump was president.
Yeah. So we've been through this before with Trump being president and Harry being in the US.
Well, he wouldn't have gone in if this was going to be an issue, or he wouldn't have been allowed in if the Trump administration was going to make this an issue.
Yep.
They're the ones who allowed him in. You can say the Biden administration was, covering up for him if that's what you believe, at least. But let's not forget, Trump was president when Harry came in, and it was fine.
Yep.
So why would he want to leave now?
Mm-hmm.
It just bothers me when the press does this. It's just so petty. And again, I know this is how they make their money, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is just clickbait for the sake of clickbait. At the end of the day, as much as we all want to see some sort of justice come to Harry and Meghan, it's not going to come through this avenue. He's not going to suddenly be deported out of nowhere. So it just doesn't make any sense. And until someone says something concrete, which so far, Eric Trump said the opposite of what this publication is saying.
Exactly. That's why I really wanted to play it, because it flies in the face of this whole story. Again, Harry might be feeling a certain way, but as I just said, if he felt that way, why would he have stayed or even entered the US when Trump was president? It doesn't make sense. And with regards to what Eric said about Trump having so much love for the late Queen and the monarchy in general, and he goes on to talk about their relationship with King Charles as well, that's more reason to believe that Trump won't do anything to anger the monarchy.
Yep. And
we don't know how King Charles feels about Harry. We don't know. Maybe he doesn't care what happens to Harry. I doubt that. He's his father.
Yeah. I mean, that parental feeling is hard to override for, especially considering we've seen evidence of King Charles almost going easy on Harry.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he doesn't care.
He's gone easy. Yes. Let's not forget, though, he evicted them from Frogmore Cottage. So he hasn't gone that easy on them.
He did, but after what?
But the thing is, deporting the king's son is going to be some kind of a slight against the king. Yeah. At least a lot of people can see it that way. Maybe Trump himself as well. But regardless, Trump has always had a very good relationship with the monarchy. And speaking of petty, I also want to remind people that back in 2019, when Meghan was on maternity leave, Trump visited, and there was a state dinner held in his honor. And she conveniently was, that's why I use the air quotation, she was conveniently on maternity leave and didn't attend that state dinner. Now, if we didn't know anything about her, and if she didn't make her obvious hatred towards Trump public in 2016 before she even met Harry, or at least before they officially started dating, then we could say, yeah, sure, maybe she was on maternity leave.
Yeah, but she always does things with something else in mind. It's always between the lines. It's never as straightforward as she says it is. So, we can assume the worst in this situation.
I think that she was petty enough to ditch that dinner on purpose.
Yep.
Because someone like Meghan would never forego a chance to put on a tiara.
Exactly
and the
what I was
dress
thinking.
And the attention.
Meghan not attending an event? No way.
Yeah. So I think that was clearly a political message that she shouldn't have made, because royals are meant to be apolitical.
Yep.
You're meant to be civil and polite and rise above the pettiness. Mm-hmm. But she didn't. She chose to be petty. And it's interesting because I referenced that 2016 clip where she calls Trump divisive and misogynistic.
Yes, of course Trump is divisive. Think about just female voters alone, right? Yeah. And with as misogynistic as Trump is and so vocal about it. Right.
It's so funny because little did anyone know back then, when she was a nobody, that she was projecting.
Oh, big time.
That she turned out to be the divisive person, one of the most divisive people of our era. Mm-hmm. And yes, a misogynist.
Oh, 100%. There's no one who hates women as much as Meghan Markle.
I remember making a video in Italy when we were traveling around Europe a couple of years ago called The Misogynist. Just go watch it if you haven't, if you want a refresher. And she's done more since then. Let's be real here. But of course, I focus a lot on Valentine Lowe's revelations about the bullying because his book was being promoted at the time. She targeted women.
Yep.
She hates women. She's insecure around women.
That's why they had to leave the palace, because it's not like she could get rid of Catherine.
Yeah. So it's absolutely disgusting that, she thought she could sit on her high horse and wax lyrical about Trump being divisive and misogynistic, when whatever your opinions are about Trump, by the way,
Still not political here.
it's really rich for someone like Meghan
Yep.
to be saying that.
When Meghan says something, I assume it's a lie.
It really reminds me, actually, of the number of times I have heard these mainstream reporters and journalists, even those on TV, to be honest, who constantly accuse platforms on social media, like ours, independent podcasts, X, maybe even. They accuse us of spewing lies and misinformation, their favorite one, and hateful rhetoric. When I just talked about projecting.
They're projecting.
It is ultimate projection.
Yep. What are they, Meghan Markle?
Pretty much. I mean, look, I found a clip from this presenter. I Googled her. Turns out she was a former White House press secretary. I had no idea. Okay. She was on this channel called MSNBC over at the US. Again, I'm not American and I'm not in the US. I just hate that I always have to give these disclaimers. I'm going to stop doing this soon, by the way. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. We shouldn't have to always walk on eggshells just to talk about things. So, but this is Jen Psaki, and this is what she has to say about independent platforms like ours.
And it may be time to ask ourselves things like whether social media platforms should have the freedom to operate at a lower level of accountability than local television networks in terms of the lies they can spread.
A lower level of accountability.
Are you joking? Lower level? I'm sorry, let's go back to the last podcast when I reminded everyone, which I'm sure no one forgot, the times you couldn't say COVID on YouTube. Guess what the media was saying continuously back to back? You know what? The media can actually spread and does actively spread misinformation to the entire world on almost a daily basis. And yet they want to pretend that we're the ones who have free reign and can do whatever we want.
Yep.
No, that is the complete opposite of the truth. And just by accusing us of that, that is misinformation.
It's misinformation. It's lies. Exactly what she's accusing us of. And she's not the only one. This is just a clip I came across. There are so many more like her. And it's these channels, as you said, on TV, just because they're legitimate, they're on TV. They didn't have to walk around saying SA and DV and using acronyms. Like we're in some dystopian Hunger Games era, which we practically are at this point. This is ridiculous. They don't get their ads, their videos demonetized rather. Simply because they're discussing real life issues.
In fact, they got preferential treatment when they had their own channels on the same platforms that they're now slamming, which, by the way, they still get ad revenue on, and they didn't get demonetized.
Exactly.
They could say all the things that all the other people couldn't say because they were a special news channel. And yet all of us were like, hey, we want to actually speak some truth or give an opinion here, or I don't know, just be human and communicate on this brand new world called the internet. It's like, no. You don't sit here on an official network, so you don't get to say anything.
You get censored. Censored for wanting to say the truth, to discuss facts. It's ridiculous. And you all know where I'm going with this. Speaking of telling truth and discussing facts, I want to thank our partner, Ground News, for partnering with us for this podcast. If you haven't heard, I know a lot of you are regular viewers and you're going to be like, we heard this before. Press L if you've heard this before. But basically, if you haven't, or if you want to try out a service that is basically a news aggregator and it tells you what the political leanings are of every publication, just so you know, do they have an agenda? Is there a reason they're covering this? It also can highlight the blind spots for you. So what's not being covered by whatever side. And if you want access to news where you get to make up your own mind without an agenda being pushed on you, then do check out the following link. It's on screen now. check.ground.news/lostbeyondpluto. You'll get 15% off a Vantage plan, which gives you full access to the website and the app. And of course, you'd be helping out the channel, but also Ground News. It's funded completely by subscriptions. And that's how they keep themselves independent. That's how we want to keep ourselves independent.
No political leaning here or there. Just the truth as we see it, and helping people make up their own minds instead of telling you what to believe, which is what the mainstream media likes to do.
So we mentioned earlier, of course, that Prince William had Earthshot back last week in South Africa. Very successful. It went very well. But unfortunately, it was heavily overshadowed by the election, which is very understandable. I don't know if Americans realize that your politics affect the rest of us, which is why the rest of us keep a keen eye. And we do follow what goes on. And I only learned this recently. We're quite young.
Yeah.
You know, last time there was an election, I was young enough not to care and understand.
Yeah. But unfortunately, everyone's tied to the US dollar. So what happens to your economy happens to everyone else's economy, which sucks.
It's not just economy. It's even all this misinformation, the censorship.
Yep.
America's powerful. And so at least in Australia here, I don't know if people live in more independent states, but we basically just do what America does.
Yeah. Where, for lack of a better word, puppets.
Puppets.
A little bit, you know.
And I learned that in the military, to be honest. Sorry. I know some people are patriotic, but it's what I saw. Anyways, so it wasn't enough that the election overshadowed William. I don't know, maybe Meghan and Harry didn't think it would be overshadowed, but they thought, oh, let's get on the news cycle too, despite probably also being overshadowed by the election themselves.
If anyone thought that they were going to be more important than the election, it was Meghan.
Absolutely. I mean, she foresees herself, I'm sure, still as a future. She's probably like, yes, now I still get to, I have hope to call myself the first woman of color American president because Kamala wasn't successful. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think any American's going to fall for Meghan. I really don't.
Yeah, but she's delusional.
She is delusional, so I guess we'll see her make a fool of herself.
So they've popped up in this video. It's on their Archwell Foundation website. Looking like, honestly, it looks like you typed in ChatGPT, come up with a video of two people who are meant to be in a marriage and who love each other, and they want to deliver an impassioned speech about protecting children. And then the AI went, oh, okay, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
Because both of them, especially Meghan, Harry does have a knack for being a little bit more on the natural side. But even his delivery was rehearsed. Meghan was like a robot. A robot. She is so unsettling for me to look at. She reminds me of someone, unfortunately, who's been a living nightmare in my life. Every second is fake.
Yeah.
Every blink. Everything is pre-planned.
Yeah.
Premeditated.
Everything's trying to manipulate someone.
Yeah. It's very unsettling. Let me know if you feel the same way. I just get the heebie-jeebies when I look at her. But there, once again, we're talking about censorship. So it's very fitting. You cannot talk about censorship without talking about Meghan and Harry. They are small-time players, as I've always said. There are much more sinister forces at play. In fact, I might make a video about it in the future. Another video. I've already done videos on censorship. But Meghan and Harry are just tiny, tiny, small-time players who are dumb enough to expose their agenda.
I'm the prince. That doesn't mean much anymore, buddy. Sorry.
It really doesn't. And her title never meant anything either. But this week, they attended virtually the inaugural United Nations Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence. It's actually digital violence, from what I know. At least that's Meghan and Harry's niche. Against children. And this was held in Colombia. Now, you all know that they were there in August.
Yep.
So it's very bizarre that they didn't just time it for November.
Yeah, they probably wanted to do their own thing, but maybe they didn't like the reception enough to fly over there again.
Or maybe they weren't, I don't know. I can't say they weren't invited because they actually had members of the Parents Network, I'm guessing parents that are signed up to it, attend to tell their stories. So it's difficult to see how Meghan and Harry were not invited, seeing that their initiative was involved, at least according to them. I'm not going to lie, I haven't gone as far as looking at the agenda of the actual conference. But given that these people were allowed to speak there, you're going to have to assume that it was actually slotted. You know, they reserved a slot for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know why they weren't there. There's always a reason. We just don't know it. And this always starts my alarm bells, my spidey senses. Listen to this. This landmark event marked the first time that governments and leaders from around the world have come together to commit to accelerating Sustainable Development Goal 16.2, ending all forms of violence against children. Can I just say that a significant amount of violence committed against children is perpetrated by elites? And I just find it very ironic that leaders and governments are pretending to actually care when people are powerful enough, they just turn a blind eye and go just do what you need to do.
Yeah, actually, I never thought of it that way.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, a bit hypocritical.
Oh, more than a bit, but I know what you're saying. So yes, the conference addresses the urgent solutions and actions needed to create a world where children are safe and protected in their homes, schools, communities, and online spaces. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. It just talks about the parents who spoke there. But we've said this before. It's almost a broken record. But it's important that every time they rear their ugly heads to speak about this topic, that we have to counter it with the truth.
It's whack-a-mole.
Exactly. It is whack-a-mole. Yep. But this is clearly an agenda to control us.
Yes.
To censor us. To limit what you can all say on the internet and use children as a stepping stone to start that level of censorship, which we're already in it.
Yes, we are. And every time someone screams, wait, you think of the children, it's like, all right, cool. Now I know you have an agenda, because the world consists of more than just children. And when you do things for everybody, ideally, right? Yes, you do think of the children, but why aren't you thinking of the adults? Okay, so then your alarm bells should ring when someone says, let's think of the children. And it's not the first time that people have used that scapegoat to try and get away with things, especially censorship.
Absolutely. You know, you just reminded me, because we talk about this often. We're a young couple. We have no children, and we have no intention of having any. Can you blame us? Look at the state of the world. But growing up, it wasn't that long ago that I was a teenager. And I would hear the adults tell us, or say it on the news, we need to leave a better world for our kids. And at the time I was a kid, and they were talking about our age group, or they're telling us the sky's the limit. You're going to have a magnificent life, reach for the stars or whatever. And then fast forward a few years, you become an adult, and the world is at quite a dismal state.
Yep.
And so when I hear the adults, I'm an adult, obviously. I was going to say, when I hear the adults say,
yeah,
I'm one of you now, unfortunately. When I hear fellow adults on the news talk about, we need to leave a better world for our children, I always think back to, a decade ago, more than a decade ago, when I was a kid. And I think about the world they've left for me to become an adult in. It's not just me. I'm just saying me because I'm talking, in first person. But the world they've left for us.
Yep.
2 global financial crises, basically. The economy destroyed, annihilated. We went through a rough patch for COVID.
Yep.
Just because I was making YouTube videos. In fact, that's why I had the time to make YouTube videos.
Yep.
We went through a rough patch, uncertainty, savings going into, because we're not earning for a while. And so you start worrying. And basically, I just really wanted to say, you're right. Can people just stop using children, because it's a lie?
It is.
It's just empty words.
It always has been.
It means nothing.
Yep.
Whatever these people today are saying about your children and leaving a better world for them, I'm sure parents, you have the best intentions, but the powers that be,
yep,
they don't care. They don't care about your kids.
Because that's what it all comes down to. It's, we'll do this for the children, but it really benefits me, and I'm not going to tell you how.
That's why Meghan and Harry are doing this. That's why they're creating this parents initiative, which is all talk, all talk and zero action. What did we say last week when we discussed William's homelessness project?
Is it more than talk?
There are real problems, real solutions.
Yep.
When it comes to this online censorship for the, wellness or welfare of children, rather, how long have they been talking about this?
Since they started, actually, since she got in and was like, hey, look at all these causes I can pretend to be a part of now that I married a prince. It's been since the beginning. And since then, what have we seen? Harry and Meghan make fools of themselves endlessly, all the time, and most importantly, be hypocrites.
Well, it's just endless talk. I'm not going to play you this video. I don't want to punish you. It is one of the driest deliveries. She pretends like, she was some kind of a, grade A actress.
Yeah.
She is terrible at reading from a teleprompter, which is clearly what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's so much better at it than she is.
Well, she's probably looking at the teleprompter like, someone's telling me what to do. I don't want to do it.
It's just, she's so robotic. And that's how she was on Suits from the few clips I've seen. She cannot even, what's the word?
Act.
Feign. She can't feign warmth.
Yeah, no.
She can't feign humility.
Yep.
Or compassion, which she always uses, one of her favorite words.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. So I'm not going to play it, but you can go see it. They have done nothing. And all they do is say, we need to talk about it some more. We need to talk about it some more. We need to talk about it some more.
How about you do something? Oh, no, you don't want to do anything unless you can get on stage and keep talking?
If they actually cared about this initiative, they would have gotten on a plane.
Yep.
Hopefully, preferably commercial because of climate change that they love to espouse.
Mm-hmm.
And went there and promoted their initiative hard.
Yeah.
Instead, they sent parents to do their job for them.
Yeah, she seems like a delegating sort of person. Unfortunately, she can't delegate talent.
That's funny. Their final paragraph here, this blurb on their website, it says, the journey towards lasting solutions is far from over. Protecting children, both offline and online, requires continued collaboration, innovation, and commitment from governments, organizations, and communities worldwide. What they're saying here, notice what's missing. I know it says communities as a whole, but there is almost no responsibility being put on the parents themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're not parents. I understand that. But of course, we exist because we had parents. We have parents.
Yep.
And I always have to preface this once again because we have had people in the past get so mad at us when we weigh in on these things. They go, you don't have kids. What do you know?
Hold on a second. Just because we don't have kids doesn't mean we don't think that, kids should be taken care of by their parents. Like, I think that's an instinctual thing, right? Even when we see kids on the street, when we see kids in our families, we genuinely feel for them. So when we say these things, we're saying it because we actually do care about kids, a lot more than Meghan does, at least.
Yes. And what I'm trying to say now is, where are the parents here? They can't just be victims. You can't just paint them as victims, which is what Meghan specializes in. She got all those amazing, successful women on her podcast, like Serena Williams, and made them out to be victims. Mm-hmm. Parents who go through this, of course, it's heart-wrenching, who lose their children. But you can't just put it on the social media platforms.
Yep.
And you can't put it on the state and worldwide, communities at large. Every household is responsible for their kids. Yes. I can't believe that even has to be said.
Because a kid being on social media has to be allowed by a parent or whoever is living with them, whoever their guardian is. So a child on social media being exposed to social media, the parent is allowing that.
We have family members who have 2 teenage daughters. They don't have social media.
Yep.
And I know some nasty people will say, oh, you don't know what those girls are doing. No, we do. They're family. Yep. You don't know them. Mm-hmm. Very, very, not strict in the worst way, but their parents are strict when it comes to those things.
Yep.
They're not allowed. And it's working. We were just with them.
Yeah.
They're lovely, lovely girls, so healthy mentally and physically. They're not affected by all the Instagram and the weight loss, and they're beautiful and natural and confident in their skin.
Yep.
And that is a real life proof that what their parents are doing works.
We did the same thing with movies and ratings. There are a reason that those ratings exist, because those ratings are saying, hey, your kids won't be able to understand these mature elements. So maybe don't show your kids this movie, right? So shouldn't we be doing that with social media where, okay, there's going to be a lot of stuff on social media that my kids aren't going to understand and are not going to be mentally equipped to deal with yet? Should you expose them to that? Should you let them watch an R-rated movie just because? No, you shouldn't. And social media can be R-rated a lot of the time.
Oh boy. Even for, I'm a prude. I'm an adult, but I'm a prude. And some things I accidentally see on Instagram, I go, what the?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
Yep.
Let alone kids. So speaking of solutions, why don't Meghan and Harry, rather than only fixating on the victimhood of these parents and the pain they've gone through, because that's not going to help anyone, by the way. I know it sounds harsh, but hearing the pain of parents is not going to fix the issue.
Yep.
So Meghan and Harry's resources should be on maybe developing kid-friendly apps.
Yeah.
Monitored by their parents, password protected by their parents. Their parents get like a mirror app on their phone and they can see what their kid is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out of my head right now.
I don't think that children should be on social media away from their parents. I think that they should be in the same room seeing what they're doing, because that's how you monitor what your children are watching on TV. It used to be a big screen, right in the living room that everyone can see. But now on their phone, you don't know what they're doing. And It's terrifying.
You know, it's funny you say that. I really want to move on and close up this episode. But growing up, social media existed. Not on smartphones when I was in primary school, but, the online environment existed.
Yep.
And my parents, we had a central computer in the living room, and my dad bought me a laptop when I was very young in grade 4 because I did well in school. I was not allowed to get on the internet on that laptop unless someone was an adult. My parent was with me in the room, but my parents preferred all of us, my siblings and I, would use the computer in the living room because it was facing a wall and the monitor was facing the rest of the house.
You could see what everyone's doing.
And they could see everything we were doing.
That's the right way to do it, I would say. And don't let us just talk about this. If you're a parent and you're going through a similar thing where you're thinking to yourself, how do I manage my child's social media? Or even better, if you already have solutions, put it down in the comments. Share it, because let's open this conversation to other people who do have kids. And maybe if anyone else has had similar experiences as well.
Yeah. I want to say also that the fact that they're not coming up with solutions tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. They, in my opinion, have not come up with solutions because this is just a facade for censoring us. And they're so transparent because for years before they hopped onto this bandwagon, they harped on and on and on and on about censoring the media.
Yep.
And they think we're all goldfish with no memories and we won't connect the dots. It's like, oh, hang on. You had zero interest in this, and then you figured out there was an in to your censorship thing.
Yep.
To me, what it sounds like is that they're really pushing for this whole nanny state thing, where we're all monitored and controlled, and almost like the government is a nanny, and we're all kids that can't make up our own minds and can't parent our own kids and can't do this. And we have to have a trigger warning for everything. And we have to be at PC all the time. And because we can't offend everyone. Gosh, but that's what this sounds like to me. Now, if that sounds appealing to you, if you want to have all the responsibility removed from you and to have the government set regulations and control whether your kids get on social media or not, to parent your kids basically, then just have a listen to what Margaret Thatcher once said.
You know, when the state does everything for you, it'll soon take everything from you. You will then have no basis for personal freedom, political freedom, nor economic freedom.
I think her words are 100% relevant to the world that is around us today, that we live in today, because we're already seeing it happening. We can't say certain words. We can't say certain things. Look at me giving you all disclaimers before I say something because I'm so worried about offending people. So just be wary of this. What Meghan and Harry are pushing, and listen to what Margaret Thatcher said, polar opposites. They want what she's warning us about. And that's not a place any of us want to go to. Jokes of the week. This one is incredibly perplexing to me as someone who has read Spare, as someone who forced myself to go through it. It was so difficult. I am such a fast, voracious reader. That book took me far too long.
Yep, I remember. And you just devour books like
It's
all
just
the time.
torture. It was torture. Even though the ghostwriter is an excellent writer, grammatically, just his sentences flowed. It was a good grammatical read, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the inanity of it, And also, let's not forget how during summer last year, it was left as trash. In holiday destinations, people are like, I'm not bringing this back.
Oh, that's so funny.
Now, interestingly, it's hit number 1 in the Sunday Times bestsellers list for the paperback edition, which was recently published.
Wow. I mean, now...
I
Jeez,
think
these charts have as much relevance as the music top 40 charts. Honestly, wow. They just... is nothing sacred?
I think people from the industry, I'm sure someone out there in the audience works in literature, publishing. Let us know how these numbers... How do you make it on these lists? Because even Meghan's The Bench was a New York Times bestseller, allegedly.
No.
There's no way.
It's impossible. Yeah, okay, the charts for books are dead and gone. Same as music. Doesn't matter if it's a top 40 book or a top 40 song. It's trash.
Yes, it's just anyone, if you can explain this anomaly. Otherwise, this is a joke, a farce, unless Harry just mass ordered his own book just to inflate the numbers. I wouldn't be surprised. His wife would come up with that idea.
The charts are just another way to tell you something's popular, so you should buy it. So, that's a top 40. I should probably get that because everyone else is doing it. Don't fall for it.
I don't think anyone in our audience is going to fall for buying Harry's book.
Yeah.
But you mean in general?
In general, top 40 lists are ridiculous. Hey, just like that top 100 attractive men list was BS.
And Channing Tatum was 33.
Yeah.
All right. Second joke. We're going to end off here. From being a royal duchess to potentially, this is Meghan, selling her wares at Netflix malls.
Wait, hold on. Backtrack a second. Netflix has malls?
I know. It was news to me. I think from what I remember reading, initially it would open up in other malls as pop-up kind of locations with theme, and then now it wants to start up its own kind of mall, which is themed for its popular shows.
Yeah.
And then the media are speculating, Meghan could sell her American Riviera Orchard products there. And I just thought, wow. The number of times when I used to watch Lady C back in 2020, she would say, selling her wares. That's, if this is what she ends up doing, I mean, talk about rock bottom yet again.
Do you think Netflix wants anything to do with her anymore, though?
Apparently, she filmed a show already to promote this American Riviera Orchard thing, or as I call it, American Racism Orchestra, a cooking show, which wrapped. They've already filmed it. But now she's in trademark hell, as I discussed in my last video, the final part of The Curse of Being a Narcissist. She has major problems with her trademark name. She might have to change it. I would if I were her, seeing as she never really officially launched it.
But that falls under someone telling her what to do, and she doesn't like that.
Yeah, not even when it's when it's the law.
Yeah, it's literally a court telling you to do something, Meghan. You might want to do it.
Well, it's not a court. Trademark is not court. It
could go to court.
Well, yeah, it could, but it hasn't gotten that far. That's it.
There we go.
You want to add anything else?
No, I think joke of the week is every week Meghan Markle.
Well, actually, it's been Harry as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's been Harry. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you found the episode informative. I know today's episodes were a little bit on the heavier side, but honestly, I'm just sick and tired of being censored. I really am. I've been on YouTube now for almost, next May, it'll be 5 years.
Wow.
And I'm sick and tired of being censored. I don't want to walk on eggshells anymore.
Yeah, I think one of the best things anyone can do is be themselves. And if we can't even say something if we can't even speak the truth, then that's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
It really is. Let us know what you all think of the topics, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you then.
Bye.